Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out. We're here to discuss a very serious matter, and in fact, one of the most egregious attacks on our environment that I've witnessed in my almost 15 years in the federal parliament. Because today, the government, possibly with the support of the opposition, will start the process of amending the Environment Protection and Biodiversity Act to exempt certain activities. It is a blatant effort to stop the Environment Minister from reviewing the 2012 decision by the then Environment Minister Tony Burke when it came to the expansion of fish farming in Macquarie Harbour. Some people might call this an environmental gerrymander because it is so blatantly an attempt to curry votes in the Braddon electorate in the northwest of Tasmania and down the west coast of Tasmania. Such a blatant attempt to try and safeguard well less than 100 jobs involved in the salmon industry in Macquarie Harbour. Now, this is alarming on so many levels. It is just such a cynical political fix. It is such a complete breakdown in good governance, and it is, as I said at the start, a shocking attack on the environment, because we know that in Macquarie Harbour, among the other species, there is the threatened Maugean skate, a prehistoric animal that is on the edge of extinction as a direct result of salmon farming in Macquarie Harbour. So it appears that, and this is being driven by the Prime Minister's office here, not the Environment Minister's office, it appears that this government, this Prime Minister, are harvesting a few votes in the Braddon electorate ahead of the very survival of one of the oldest species on the planet. Now, I'll finish my remarks there, and we've got a number of very significant guests who have travelled to Canberra to offer a few comments. We have Environment Tasmania, the Australia Institute, Neighbours of Fish Farms, the Australian Marine Conservation Society, and then there'll also be an opportunity for some of my crossbench colleagues to speak if they wish. There's a representative here of the Greens. We've also got Peter George, who is an independent candidate running in the electorate of Franklin, which of course is the other electorate in Tasmania that is being subject to the ravages of excessive and almost unregulated salmon farming in the state. And it's the electorate which has been most badly affected by the biggest fish die-off in the industry's history in recent weeks. It's on his beaches that we've got rotting fish carcasses and globules of fish oil stopping people from swimming and enjoying the natural environment safely. So I'll first of all invite Environment Tasmania to say a few words.
Matt Testoni, Environment Tasmania. And in our polling released yesterday, we found that 65% of Tasmanians want a reduction in salmon in Macquarie Harbour to protect the Maugean skate from going extinct and making Tasmania the extinction state. And that's across all 5 federal electorates. There is overwhelming support for reducing salmon and saving the Maugean skate. Only 30% of people in Tasmania support these crazy new laws the government is pushing through. We don't even really know what they say. 44% of people are already opposed to these laws, which is a double-digit lead across the entirety of Tasmania, across all 5 electorates. Save the skate, mate.
The Maugean skate is recognised for its World Heritage value. A third of Macquarie Harbour, the skate's only home, is World Heritage listed. If we are not going to draw a line in the sand to save World Heritage, when will we? Just as these laws look set to do the thing that they're meant to do and protect World Heritage and protect the skate, they're going to change the law. But this isn't just about the skate. This is an attack on democracy. These changes will reduce civil society's rights to appeal decisions under national environment law. This will have ramifications beyond the salmon industry. This is creating chaos, not certainty. Very few of these reviews have actually been triggered by civil society. The vast majority of these reviews are undertaken and triggered by ministers. They're done to change the conditions associated with their approvals. Under this legislation, if it passes, this will no longer be possible. Science doesn't stop after 5 years. We are living in a climate-changing world. We are learning about the impacts of climate change and other things through science every day. It doesn't stop after 5 years, but that's what these laws will do if they go through.
Thank you. Neighbours, please start.
My name is Jess Coughlan. I'm the campaigner with Neighbours of Fish Farming. I've travelled to Canberra today to represent the 7 in 10 Tasmanians who want salmon farming moved out of our inshore sensitive and biodiverse waterways. We live with the impacts of this industry every day. They are right on the doorsteps of our homes. They are polluting our beaches. They are killing our wild fish. They are killing our seals. This industry runs roughshod over the state government of Tasmania, and it is now doing the same with our federal parliament. Tasmanians are very angry about this, and that will be reflected at the voting booths. Labor is making a mistake.
Alexia, Wellbelove from the Australian Marine Conservation Society. This piece of environmental legislation is saying yes to fast-tracking extinctions. It's saying yes to polluting and damaging industries. It's saying yes to impacts on our most unique World Heritage values, and it's saying yes to industry over our community. It's time that we actually had environmental laws that protects our unique wildlife that all Australians want and value and want to protect. We should be strengthening our laws, not weakening it. This legislation that's proposed to be rammed through Parliament on Budget Week is a broken promise to Australians at a time when we all know our environment needs to be protected and not be led by the behest of industries that's polluting our environment. Thank you.
My name is Peter George. I'm standing as an independent candidate in Franklin against the Fisheries Minister, Julie Collins. I want to thank Mr Dutton, Mr Albanese for showing us just how venal they are in selling out to foreign corporations. The result of this will be at the next election there will be more independents and more crossbenchers, because they have shown that they don't care about our nature and about our nature laws. And independents, after the next election, will roll back these laws and will fight to strengthen our environmental laws rather than weaken them. Thank you.
Well, the fix is in. The Labor Party and the Liberal Party working together to ram through legislation that is going to gut our environment protection laws in this country. A fix to deliver for the rotten salmon industry at the expense of our environment. But the ramifications are going to be much worse than just what happens in Tasmania. The murky legal questions about how far-reaching this legislation will go are yet to be answered. In fact, the Prime Minister's office can't answer the basic questions about what cases this will impact, what will happen next. They can't answer the questions about whether this can actually stand up legally as it is. That's why today at 12 o'clock, as soon as the Senate resumes, we'll be standing up to move that this rotten piece of legislation be referred to an urgent Senate inquiry. We can't allow, on the eve of an election, for the Labor and the Liberal parties to ram through legislation that is going to gut our environment laws, push native species to extinction, and to lie to the Australian people about what was promised. The reason this is happening today, under the cover of the budget, is because the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition, Mr Dutton, don't want the community across the country to know. This is being done under the cover of the budget because the Labor Party knows it stinks. The law stinks The rotten salmon stinks and the whole process stinks.
You'll hear lots of headlines in the coming weeks about what you should be able to look to the major parties to do as it comes into this election. And I think what we're seeing happen today in this House when it comes to changes to the Environmental Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act is a very good example of why you can't trust either of the major parties. To be really clear, in 2022, the Labor government was returned to this Parliament on a promise of reforming our environmental protection laws to bring us into this century and to provide an environment for our natural environment that moved our economy forward in a way that respected that environment. On what is arguably the last day and the last week of this Parliament, we're seeing the two major parties collude to protect foreign interests. We are a nation, whether we like it or not, who currently is lumbered with a government who's prepared to sell out our natural resources at every point along the way to benefit foreign investment. Do Australians want that? And if you don't want that, it's time to stand up and send independents, real people like you, back to this place to say to this environment, the laws that are built in this space are supposed to represent us as citizens, our children, our grandchildren. And I think what's really galling in what we're seeing today is our Prime Minister is actually showing he does have strength. He's able to act on faith when it suits him. But unfortunately, the faith that he's protecting is vested foreign interests and not us as citizens or our natural environment. So we will be doing everything we can today in this place to try and stop this legislation in the lower house. We will be calling it out for the ruse that it is and the absolute abhorrent act that it is. But at the end of the day, Australians, you have the power in the coming weeks to send a message to both the major parties. Enough is enough. Tidy up your act and start to represent the people who send you here, not just the businesses who give you the donations.
Yeah.
Once again, you've seen the government bow to the big corporates rather than listening to communities. I describe myself as a Victorian Tasmanian. I grew up in Tassie from the time when I was 2 till when I was 18. And I know that Tasmanians value their natural environment. The entire economy of the state is underpinned by the pristine nature of the place. And to fail to listen to community on this is failing Tasmanians. The Prime Minister would like to frame this as a fix to a flaw in legislation. In actual fact, it's the reverse. The strength in this legislation is the capacity to review a decision when circumstances have changed over time. And as our climate changes and our environment changes, there will be increasingly a case to do that. This legislation and the change that the two major parties are going to force through this week is dangerous, and it's a reflection on their penchant for getting together to force things through when they know that communities oppose them, and it's a cynical act in the last week of this Parliament. I do believe they'll be punished for this at the ballot box, not only in Tasmania but across the country, because I think that people will see it for the cynical move that it is. And if people want to avoid this type of disastrous policy making, they should vote independent at the next election.
I struggle to see how the Prime Minister is any different to Peter Dutton when it comes to the environment. Sure, he may talk a big game, but at every turn he has undermined any progress on nature protection in this Parliament. And it's fairly outrageous that to get this through the Labor caucus, he committed to do something that he committed to do in this term of Parliament. He committed to do something that he had the support of the crossbench in the Senate to do, and then personally intervened. And now is on radio this morning lying to the Australian people, saying that that did not happen, that it was the Senate that held this up. Australians value this incredible continent that we call home. They value nature, and they want to see politicians look to the long term and actually look after this place, make decisions like we want to be here for a long time. You're not getting that from Labor, and you certainly won't get that from the coalition. And so I'd urge people, we have an election coming up, find a local candidate who is going to put you and your community and our future first.
Okay, anyone else want to have a say? All right, are there any questions, particularly questions directed at our guests, some of whom have travelled a long way because they're so concerned about this? There we go. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to keep up to date with all our latest research and work, sign up to our newsletter. Delivered every fortnight, it includes behind-the-scenes updates from Richard Dennis, an exclusive cartoon from Judy Horacek, details for our upcoming events and webinars, as well as explainers, graphs, and not to mention the latest cutting-edge research and analysis from the team here on the key issues that are facing Australia. Click the button on your screen to check it out.